Welcome to our Trump Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into some exciting and critical news stories from around the globe. First up, Harvard University is fighting back against the Trump administration's recent ban on international students, which could threaten thousands of students' futures, including many Canadians. Harvard has filed a lawsuit, claiming the move is unconstitutional and politically motivated, sparking a major legal battle. Next, a court has temporarily halted the deportation of 8 men targeted by the U.S. government, who were set to be sent to South Sudan. The court ruled that proper legal procedures weren't followed, giving these men a chance to contest their deportation. This decision highlights the importance of legal rights even in immigration enforcement. Finally, tensions between Iran and the U.S. continue to simmer, with new nuclear talks taking place in Rome. Iran's nuclear program is advancing rapidly, and both sides are cautiously optimistic about reaching an agreement to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons amid regional conflicts and ongoing hostilities. Please continue to watch for more detailed insights and updates on these stories. The Toronto Star vividly captures the tense standoff between Harvard University and the Trump administration, highlighting the potential impact on hundreds of Canadian students. Harvard's bold legal challenge portrays the administration's decision as an unconstitutional retaliation, threatening to wipe out over 7,000 international students' visas, many of whom come from Canada. The university's lawsuit emphasizes that this move not only disrupts academic life but also jeopardizes Harvard's global reputation, especially as most international students are graduate scholars contributing significantly to research, teaching, and campus diversity. Harvard's immediate response involves seeking a court order to halt the government's actions, asserting that the decision is rooted in political retaliation rather than any legitimate security concern. In a similar vein, the Toronto Star reports a federal judge's decisive intervention that temporarily blocks the Trump administration's attempt to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll international students. This legal victory preserves Harvard's certification under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, safeguarding the future of thousands of visa-holding students. The judge's ruling underscores the importance of fair legal procedures, criticizing the government's rushed process and inadequate notice, which threatened to displace students and destabilize university operations just before graduation. Harvard's lawsuit details the chaos faced by students, especially at graduate schools where nearly half or a third of students are international, and warns of long-term damage to the university's competitiveness if the restrictions persist. Yahoo US reports on the Trump administration's controversial effort to deport 8 men to South Sudan, which was halted by a federal court ruling. The court's decision came after the administration attempted to send these men, convicted of crimes from diverse countries, to a country still plagued by instability and violence. The judge criticized the administration for ignoring legal rights, emphasizing that the men deserved proper notice and an opportunity to challenge their deportation, especially given the risk of torture or mistreatment. Donald Trump publicly denounced the ruling on his social media platform, framing it as a failure to protect the nation from violent criminals, while court officials highlighted the importance of adhering to international human rights standards, ensuring that deportation procedures are fair and just. The Toronto Star paints a vivid picture of the long and tumultuous history of tensions between Iran and the United States, a saga marked by secret negotiations, nuclear brinkmanship, and regional conflicts. From Iran's initial development of nuclear technology in the late 1960s under U.S. auspices, to the Islamic Revolution and the hostage crisis, the relationship steadily deteriorates. The revelation of Iran's clandestine Natanz enrichment facility in 2002 ignited renewed fears, leading to years of negotiations, suspensions, and accusations. The 2015 nuclear agreement temporarily eased tensions, but Trump's 2018 withdrawal and subsequent Iran's defiance reignited hostilities, culminating in a series of covert attacks, the killing of General Soleimani, and Iran's escalated uranium enrichment. The region's chaos deepened with Iran's support for Hamas and Yemen's Houthi rebels, culminating in a dramatic series of attacks, counterattacks, and assassinations in 2024, illustrating the relentless cycle of conflict and diplomacy that defines this fraught relationship. Yahoo US's coverage of U.S. military leadership highlights President Trump's strategic shift toward decisive, goal-oriented military action, contrasting sharply with past approaches characterized by open-ended conflicts. Vice President J.D. Vance emphasized a disciplined use of force, advocating for swift, targeted operations rather than prolonged engagements, citing recent bombings in Yemen as an example of this philosophy. Vance's remarks, rooted in his own Marine Corps experience and his critique of the Iraq War, underscore a broader vision of military engagement, one that prioritizes clarity and effectiveness over indefinite commitments. His speech also paid tribute to fallen service members like Major Megan McClung, reinforcing the somber reality of war and the importance of disciplined, purpose-driven action for the new generation of military leaders. In London, Yahoo US reports on the meeting between US Ambassador Warren Stevens and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, set against the backdrop of President Trump's provocative call for the UK to increase oil drilling and reduce reliance on wind power. The ambassador conveyed the Trump administration's priorities of strengthening the US-UK alliance through trade and security, while Trump's outspoken advocacy for fossil fuels reflects a broader global debate over energy policy. His suggestion to abandon wind farms in favor of North Sea oil, coupled with threats to impose tariffs on the EU, underscores a push for a return to fossil fuel dominance amidst Britain's ambitious renewable energy goals. This clash of energy philosophies highlights the ongoing contest between traditional fossil fuel interests and the push for sustainable, green energy solutions on the world stage. The Sydney Morning Herald vividly depicts President Donald Trump's escalating trade war, emphasizing his aggressive stance against both the European Union and Apple. Trump has threatened to impose a 50% tariff on all EU imports and a 25% tariff on Apple products unless iPhones are manufactured domestically. His social media warnings highlight his frustration over stalled negotiations with the EU, which has proposed tariff reductions, and his desire to prioritize American-made goods. The potential tariffs threaten to inflate consumer prices significantly, especially for Apple devices, as the company considers shifting more production to India and Vietnam. Trump's rhetoric underscores a broader strategy to leverage tariffs as a tool to reshape international trade, even as critics warn that such measures could backfire economically and strain relationships with key allies. Deutsche Welle reports on the European Union's precarious position amid Trump's tariff threats, revealing the EU's efforts to avoid a full-scale trade conflict. Despite Trump's accusations that the EU's trade policies are unfair, EU officials remain committed to diplomacy, emphasizing the importance of maintaining access to the lucrative American market. The EU has already threatened retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods and is working on proposals to bolster cooperation in strategic sectors such as energy and technology. However, the challenge lies in reaching consensus among member states, especially given the EU's significant trade surplus with the U.S. and the complexities of negotiations. Experts suggest that Trump's aggressive stance may inadvertently bolster EU unity, as shared concerns about economic threats foster a unified front, even as the prospects for a swift agreement diminish. CBC details the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, focusing on the historic prisoner exchange that signals tentative progress toward peace. The swap of 1,000 prisoners, each side releasing 390 individuals, represents the largest such exchange since the war's escalation in 2022. This diplomatic breakthrough, achieved after direct talks in Istanbul, offers a glimmer of hope amid relentless fighting and devastating casualties. Despite this progress, fighting continues, with Russia claiming territorial gains and Ukraine suffering missile strikes on critical infrastructure. Meanwhile, U.S. President Trump has shifted his stance, expressing patience with Russia and suggesting that the prisoner swap could lead to larger negotiations. The conflict remains unresolved, with Moscow demanding territorial concessions and Ukraine insisting on its sovereignty, illustrating the fragile and complex path toward peace in Europe's deadliest war since World War II. The Independent reports on the escalating tensions on American college campuses over pro-Palestinian activism, highlighting recent incidents where students face disciplinary actions, including the withholding of diplomas, for expressing their views during graduation events or protests. At Virginia Commonwealth University, students Selma Bella and Serene Haddad participated in a peaceful gathering to commemorate a riot police attack on a Palestinian protest encampment, which the administration deemed unauthorized, leading to their diplomas being put on hold amid fears of deterring future activism. Bella, who expressed her willingness to risk her graduation status for her activism, and Haddad, who feels compelled by her Palestinian heritage to speak out, exemplify students confronting institutional suppression. Similarly, at Columbia University, protests disrupted ceremonies, with students booing officials, burning diplomas, and clashing with police, while at NYU, a student's speech addressing the Israel-Palestine conflict was condemned, resulting in the withholding of his diploma. The controversy extends beyond current students, as graduates like Cecilia Culver face bans from campuses for voicing political opinions related to Israel and Palestine. These incidents are set against the backdrop of the Trump administration's efforts to punish universities for alleged anti-Semitism and to restrict activism through federal funding cuts and immigration enforcement, reflecting a broader conflict over free speech, political expression, and institutional authority during a highly polarized period. Despite these pressures, activists remain resolute, emphasizing the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza, with Haddad and others asserting that their activism is a moral duty in the face of ongoing violence and suffering. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Turn on the TV screen, see the world unseen. China's on the news tonight, history in the spotlight. Scroll through my phone again, find out where to begin. Stories from the east to west, learning from the very best. News in China every day, learning in a fun new way. From the cities to the farms, feel the heartbeat, feel the charm. Ancient tales in modern times, mountains high and river rhymes. Culture rich in every town, golden driving never down. Every headline a new friend, from beginning to the end, connecting hearts through every word. China's story always heard. News in China every day, learning a fun new way. From the cities to the farms, feel the heartbeat, feel the charm. Every headline a new friend, from beginning to the end, connecting hearts through every word. China's story